All right, good morning, everyone. Or no, what is afternoon? Man, I'm so used to doing my lives in the morning, but this is my second one of the day. So we got Joe Farrell, lending for entrepreneurs on, and Lynn does investing. So morning.
More
I keep
afternoon.
saying morning. I
Afternoon.
keep saying hold
Afternoon.
on, I'm trying to
Afternoon.
go live on Instagram here. Oh, it's not working. Oh well. All right, we'll roll with it. This one's gonna be a fun one. Joe's been wanting to get on with Lynn. Lynn was recently on Bigger Pockets Rookie. And hopefully Joe can get her on his podcast at some point. But I will
So,
put their channels in the chat so you guys can go subscribe there. But today, I think we're going to kind of discuss kind of the feeling that's out there a lot. Not specifically for real estate in general, but just how it just seems like a lot of people are just quitting today. Investing, they don't know what to do, possibly a recession, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt going out there. But what's your folks' thoughts on that? Are you guys seeing that in your guys' field and you're investing and whatnot?
First of all, I want to say hi to Joel because I don't think I met him. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too.
Um, as far as people leaving real estate, like I'm not as big as what Michael Super is, or I don't really see a lot of people leaving real estate. I do see a lot of people moving away from rentals and they're looking into more strategies to bring cash flow, like co-living, rent by the room. Fix and flip is still going, but what I hear is that it's not as profitable. So they're taking cuts on their gains, they're taking cuts of the profits, they're taking cuts like per se. Like that's what I'm observing here in LA because I am being going to meetups more so here as well. And in my market, just rentals in general have slowed down.
Your thoughts, Joe, in your space, your field. So maybe, like you said,
Yeah.
Lynn says she hasn't met you. So tell her who you are, then I guess real quick.
Yeah. I'm in the lending world. I've been doing this since 2006. I live in St. Louis, and my clientele is from DC, Virginia, Maryland, to Florida, to Texas, to California, kind of all over the place. And I've had my own unique real estate investing journey. And my big thing that I talk about a lot is the stair step method: buy a primary residence, live there for a couple of years, save up, buy the next one, turn the other one into rental, rinse and repeat. And that's how I built my portfolio starting in 2013 and continue to grow. And to answer this question on the lending side of things, the number of people in my world, loan originators that are licensed, I think is like half of what it was 3 or 4 years ago. So people are getting out of the business, which, for anybody that's still in the game is a good thing. Because the number of transactions across the board, I mean, we haven't seen this low of transactions since like the 90s. So it's tough. I mean, this is the 2023 to 2025 right now is the worst that I've personally experienced. I mean, I was in the business in 08, 09 when the crash was happening, working at a bank. We were still doing business. We were still closing loans at that time. This has been just, a unique journey. Um, but at the same time as people are getting out of the business, I'm seeing investors that are active finding deals. I mean, I have a friend of mine that's here in St. Louis, and he's pumped out, I think, almost triple the amount of fix and flip acquisitions this year compared to last year. And as he's really kind of just drilled down on his buy box and got super duper specific. If it doesn't fit that box, he's passing. But he became known for this niche, and he's getting more deals. So I mean, I think everyone's journey is unique. But those that are active, there's deals out there to get, and then people are getting out of the business if you don't have the time. I think it's a time thing for a lot of people. If you don't have the time to find the deals, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, so earlier this morning, I went live with Nick, lead Prey Huddle, and Hugo from Stay Winning Money, talking more Bitcoin, crypto, and we see that it did come down a little bit earlier this month, but Bitcoin is still rocking it, and the stock market is at all time high, and whatnot. So, do you think that also is impacting a lot of people, maybe in the real estate space, as far as buying rentals? They're looking at it where, man, my money can be growing somewhere else. So a lot of people are quitting the real estate side. Lynn, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think my opinion might be a little bit skewed because I started investing at the end of 2022. So for me, it's been like this market has been what I've seen from the beginning. So if it's the worst market, then I'm still working at real estate, and then I see people around us like one rental at a time, and all the community is still working at real estate. But I mean, I'm looking forward to getting getting better interest rates, better lending options, and all of that. But yes, so for all-time highs, stock market. So the stock market always goes up. It might crash, it might like go down, then it might go back up. The stock market is really truly, if you're gonna invest for the long term, and it's truly passive, right? Like there's really not work to it once you learn how to. I'm not talking about active trading or anything like that. It's truly like set it and forget it. So it is more appealing, yeah, for sure. When I started investing, I started in the fire community. So I knew that from the beginning that if you put 20, 30 years into a stock market, every time, as long as you're young, it would be less money that you put it in. You kind of just forget it because of your retirement accounts. It's more attractive to real estate for sure, but then there's not that uptake of uh, interest gain, like you writing off paper loss, like when you're having real estate, there's not that attractiveness or the ability to scale up as quickly as with real estate, of course.
Joe, I think she took a jab at us by saying if you're young, talking about investing in the stock market. But I I did put Joel's YouTube channel, Joel's Instagram page, and Lynn's YouTube channel there. So go subscribe there, check them out. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out too. There's a collaborator feature new to YouTube, so we'll figure that out after how to work on that. But yeah, definitely interesting times. I do see it. A lot of people that I reach out to, connect with, they're trying to figure out where to put their money, what to do. I think definitely, a lot of people are struggling. Things are hard out there, but they're also trying to figure out how to get ahead. And there's not like a real clear path, right? Because even if you threw your money like in stocks, for example, it's you're just letting it sit there in a sense, right? Yeah, it may be gaining value, but how is that helping you today in a sense, right? So I know Joe is big. He's a lender for entrepreneurs, but he's also big on increasing multiple streams of income, side hustles, things like that. So are you, Joel, seeing more people trying to figure out ways to increase their income?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whether it's online or side jobs, I mean, I'm the people that want to get ahead, that want to build wealth, they're the ones out there hustling, whether it be doubling down on their current job. I mean, I've got a friend of mine who lives in DC, who's got a government job, and he's also a realtor on the side. Like we were literally just texting a little bit ago about an offer to put on, and people. That's just one example. But yeah, people out there that are increasing income, they're going to be the ones that are going to be getting ahead, especially in my industry, right? In lending, I've been working on trying to build my brand, connect and do content and do things. I'm not great at it, but I do it, and I'll be light years ahead of people in a year or two, or three or four or five when the markets continue to shift. And so when you put the work in, for not just months but years, and go down a certain lane, it's inevitable to be able to, have massive gains in that field.
I quickly want to know if maybe I'm the only one hearing it, but it sounds like Joel sucked on a helium balloon. Is it just me, or does Joel's voice sound a little weird? I don't
There's
know.
some squeaking, but I don't think it's his voice. I think it's some.
That was my kids yelling from the other part of the house. Maybe.
No, but Joe, I've heard you've been on my stream many, many times, and I feel like you sucked on a helium balloon the way your
Really?
voice is coming out. Yeah,
No
but
way.
we'll roll with it.
Oh, okay then. All right. Let's go.
Hey, Tiffany's here. Morning or afternoon. Man, I keep saying morning. I'm so used to it. Dave K, haven't seen you here before. Thanks for tuning in. It says stocks work great for me, but I can't stomach big drops in the market as I get older than old guy. Yes, that is definitely true. I don't like how this new format is showing up. So hopefully, hold on, let me change this real quick. I don't like how it's showing up. There we go. Yeah, so Dave K, thanks for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button. Check out Joe and Lynn's channels also. Let's see. Yeah. Lynn, so what do you, I guess, people are a lot of uncertainty right now, but I think on your channel, your social media side, I see you working on an ADU. I believe you're working on some projects right now. So it hasn't stopped you, right? So I think like if someone was trying to maybe get started now, I mean, like what kind of advice would you give to them to help them in this kind of maybe uncertain market?
Yeah, I think for the long, like since 2022 or 2023, it's been kind of like one of the worst markets, like Joe said, lowest transaction ever. So there is going to be an upside. Like it's really hard to say that this is going to continue for years and years and years, or it's going to be pretty volatile for the rest of, I don't know, 2027 and on. But there's going to be an upwards curve as well. So if you're starting in the worst of the times and like the worst of the sales, then just like know that there's going to be a better time for real estate. But so if you find a deal that's working, that's cash flowing right now, if you know what to look for and you know where to educate yourself, like buying books, like going to meetups, getting around the people that are actually investing even during these hard times, and you find a deal and it works, don't get derailed because you're just hearing that like right now it's not the time to buy, because you're always going to hear that in different years and different markets. You're going to hear like, well, maybe you should, hold off and not buy that house. But if if it cash flows, if it's going to work out now, then it's going to work out when we're in a better situation.
Just want to give a shout out to my man Millennial Mike tuning in. He is with Hyder right now, so they looks like they're in Costco, and that is Lynn's favorite place. But we can touch on that after. But yeah, Millennial Mike, he's been off social media for a while. He's making his rounds again. He's coming back out. He's also on Rumble, so go check out Millennial Mike. He's also putting out wins and losses. So Hyder is in Gary, Indiana, with Mike right now. They're probably working on his property that Mike has been putting out there as far as taking a little loss in a sense as of now, but he's showing the truth and the real numbers and the struggles, and even someone seasoned like him is showing that you're going to have your ups and downs, but get around the right people, get around the right community, and it'll definitely help push you through. And that's why like someone like Hyder's meeting up with Mike to work on the property, right? And yeah, Mike's a second responder. I'm joking. So me and Mike have a good relationship, but I'm trying to get Mike on a live stream, so we'll figure something out and get him on. But yeah, I think definitely, Lynn, you want to talk a little about what your social media, what you've been putting out there? Like I said, you had some projects you're working on and what you're showing even in this time of uncertainty as far as what you're working on.
Yeah, I definitely want to give props to Mike, because like that's how I got into real estate investing. One of the Mark, and not just you, Mark, but the other Mark and Mike were the ones that putting content in YouTube since, I don't know, 7 years plus. And they were the ones that investing in Gary. So thanks to their like honest feedback, I was able to also get into the same market. But my YouTube channel comes as a result of that. Like they incentivized me, motivated me, so I want to do the same thing for other people, especially girls. I don't feel like there's a lot of girls and girls and women in our community, or just in real estate investing at all, Latina people of color. So that's my goal and who I'm talking to mostly, but also everybody's welcome. I also have a podcast with Violeta Sandoval. She is another investor, invests out of state in Milwaukee. And we're everywhere now. We're on podcast, Spotify, wherever you can download a podcast. We have a YouTube channel as well. And we're bringing in more material, just like education around real estate and showcasing women as well.
And as you mentioned, there is Violeta's YouTube and Instagram handles, so check her out. But yeah, her and Lynn, did you guys do anything this morning? I didn't know. You guys have a regular trying to schedule something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, go check them out. They live stream also. They're also on Spotify, I saw. And definitely, yeah, Mike has helped a lot of people start their YouTube channels, and very motivational, and set a good example for a lot of people. But Joel, I mean, let's kind of touch on you too. I know you're kind of trying to figure things out too on the social media side, right? I mean, as far as multiple channels, multiple pages, and just trying to find what works for you also, right? Is that You think the uncertain times is making it hard for you to find like a platform that works well for you, or are you just trying to test things out right now?
Well, I think if you're a realtor, right, and you're showing houses and you can maybe do luxury stuff and it's attractive and maybe if you're on the water, you're gonna get eyes. And if you're a lender, I mean, nobody cares. It's very boring. It's very transactional. So I think that's part of the challenge, and that's the heart of where I went with Strive for 25, that podcast, which is on hold, over 120 episodes in. Those that aren't familiar with it, increase income, save 25%, have options to invest, which is what that's all about in terms of side hustles. And thanks, Mike. Well said. Well said.
I don't get it.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, in my world, it just got too much to be able to go on that path. That wasn't generating the type of results that I wanted in the back end. I care about the project, trying to just showcase and ways people are generating extra income and wealth tips and things like that. So I kind of pivoted more into the lending world and bringing on investors and different people, experts in different markets, and doing live streams and things like that, and more tailored to my actual job. So that's kind of been my journey the last 5 or 6 months and pivoting there. $5.
Thanks, Mike, for the $5 super chat. But I guess I have to show it out there that what happens when someone super chats. So I said, thank God Lynn is here to carry the show. Yes, Lynn is a great investor though, and Bigger Pockets star. Yes, I think I don't know if I touched on it, but she was on Bigger Pockets Rookie recently. Also, Dylan from the ORAC community was on Bigger Pockets Rookie recently. Also, we had PTO for Life on Business Insider. Dion's been in Business Insider. Millennial Mike's been on Business Insider. So a lot of people from the One Rental at a Time community is getting their names out there, and the community is just growing. But also, Mike says, also real investors don't quit investing in real estate. Yeah, very true. And go check out his channel, and he's definitely showing the ups and downs and showing that it's, you're not going to just quit and you're going to figure it out and do it that way. But yeah, Lynn, so maybe you can also touch on, so I believe you're in 3 markets kind of in a sense, right? I mean, would you count, you're in Gary, but also in Chicago, right? I mean, would you count that the same or?
Oh no, it's also Indiana, Hammond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hammond, Indiana, Gary, and now in LA because I finished ADU in the back, so that's a midterm rental. I already rented as well. So kind of house hacking now, which is.
So now that you're doing the ADU project and build, maybe do you have what has been more challenging, investing out of state or going through this process of building an ADU?
ADU.
Do you think it's because you're in California or just the overall process of it?
Yes, because it's in California. Not only do you have to deal with the timelines, permits, inspectors, I'm managing it. So it takes time out of my W-2 work day to day. I have to like be there for appointments as well. And so like my out of state is almost more passive, but it's still on a day-to-day business calls. But over here is more like presence, like in person kind of thing, and managing the budget, making sure like that I'm communicating with the contractor every day. And then so it's just a bunch of like things, and it's a build kind of, right? So it's construction. So then you have the backyard that it's a mess, and then make sure you're not bugging the neighbors and stuff like that. It's residential, but now it's done. So it's quiet now, and also it's severely more expensive than investing out of state in Gary. So that's been hit, which has made me slow down investing out of state. And now I kind of want to take a break from investing too, like slow, because I had a burst. I'm still doing a burr right now in Gary, so that's going to be done sometime in November. And then I want to take a full break of doing any kind of rehabs or construction.
And then talking about struggles and maybe wins and losses, I know Joe, like I think you put on social media, 2024 is pretty rough for you, right? I think some real estate stuff, business stuff. You able to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, right? I mean, you go through the ups and the downs and the the peaks and the valleys of whatever business you're in, and when stuff goes wrong in, with, say, let's just say business or real estate, and then those things can affect your personal life too. I mean, I hear Lynn talking about taking a break, right? I mean, all that energy you output to the day job and then the extra stuff for the real estate and managing projects, is if you're not managing the people and the timelines and pushing and pushing and pushing, stuff just gets delayed and falls through the cracks. And if you're not on that, then you're potential to fail. And I saw that personally in 2019 when I had 2 flips going, and I was trying to get the stuff going. Then COVID happened, and we couldn't get contractors, and we're in the middle of IVF, and then my twins are born in the end of 19, and that whole journey made a massive impact on my relationship, and now I'm divorced. So that's just how life is. Things just don't go the way you hope or expect, and you have to pivot. But the personal part of it, the focus, the energy, and this is coming from somebody with ADHD. I've had to manage my own journey in that regard. But the interpersonal relationship part of it, I don't think it's talked about enough when you're talking about the output of a W-2 plus extra real estate stuff plus a relationship. I mean, there's a lot of give and take in that, and if your partner is not on the same page as you, it can be a real struggle.
But as to Millennial Mike's point, right? I mean, you didn't quit, or investors don't quit, right? And
That's right.
You've pushed through it. You've had, like you said, your rough time. I think you're coming out on the other side. Seems like, but you're killing it now. I don't think I have it saved on this side, but like I know a lot of people in the community has reached out to you, and they just have a lot of positive things to say to you. Like James, the grumpy contractor, was this. Super glad he got to connect with you. You answered all his questions. You didn't try to rush him, and he just felt like there was this personal relationship there. So if anyone is looking for a lender, also, actually, Joel just joined the school community too, so you can also reach out to him there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
He did buy a ticket for the Vegas event, also in ORAT, so he'll be there. And by Lynn's gonna be there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's a great community to be around. You'll see Mike there. You get to meet Millennial Mike there. He's a super good guy. But yeah, let's also kind of dig into, Lynn, you kind of touched on taking a break maybe after your next BRRRR, but would you say it might be better to just push through, and because of the time that we're in, and the so much people possibly quitting or leaving, or there's going to be a lot of opportunities? Do you kind of maybe thinking of it that way a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I feel that pressure, but I also understand, like, when I started investing, it was because I wanted to run away from my W-2, right? So that was the driver. And then also, like, in the past, I suffered with depression as well. So it was like also this real estate investing was like the way out. And then now I'm out of that W-2, so I'm in a different W-2. So kind of stepped in a different role. So that was a different world. But I think when I started investing heavily over the last 3 years, there was like that push of the motivation of like, let's do this, let's keep on going. But at the same time, in my personal life, I'm at a different position in which I'm like maybe transitioning from my W-2 into my own business. So that is going to be a transition that I need to be slow, because I'm not a very risky person. I'm not just like drop everything and move on to the next thing. So I did want to reach milestones, like have 1 year of expenses before I like saved up before I do transition to my business, because I know my business will not generate enough income like my W-2 would. So I want a space for that transition. So I think it has to steer me into slowing down into real estate, actively investing all the time, and let that grow, let that accumulate, kind of like what you did, Mark, with your 14 rentals, and build up reserves and build up that like piggy bank that you're going to do when you're ready to deploy, which you have been doing this year. Been purchasing additional rentals and even thinking about flipping. So it's about all setting yourself up for success. And that's what I'm thinking of more now.
Yeah, I think you gave yourself options though. That's the biggest thing, right? So you've put yourself in a position to, like you say, you leave your W-2, start your own business. So, but you do definitely have options. And I think Alex, who's in the school community, who did a live with Dion yesterday, he kind of is in that same boat where he works for the federal government. He's kind of his paycheck is uncertain right now. He does have some vacancies in his rental portfolio, but he also has rentals, which is making this time a lot easier for him, right? So I'm hoping all of this uncertainty also is making people realize that you got to give yourself options, right? We just don't know. I mean, every year there's basically a looming government shutdown, right? I mean, every year it's on the table, yet it happens, and people still complain about it and are not in a position to help themselves. So hopefully people are waking up, and I think that's why Millennial Mike, he is also trying to pivot to Rumble a little bit. He definitely is a little more vocal about certain things, and he's worried about certain things on YouTube and whatnot. So he's also trying to build a platform on the Rumble side. So go check him out there, definitely. But Joe, let's kind of get back to, like, on the rate side of things, people being scared and uncertainty. Do you think, where would rates have to go, you think, for more people to start jumping off of the sidelines or be more comfortable in investing in real estate, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough question to answer because I have somebody right now who is in the DC market. They're buying a house in the 500,000 range, and they got an FHA loan. Seller's covering virtually all the closing costs, and we're buying the rate down into the low fives. Like, it's FHA, VA, which are government-backed loans. The rates are going to be typically lower than conventional, and we're in the low fives, paying a couple points. I've got a conventional buyer um, that we locked in with a point under 6%. So the fives are there.
Mhm.
In an environment where you have sellers being more flexible on concessions, I mean, the fives are there. So if rates went down 0.5%, I mean, yeah, once the media starts talking about it on the CNNs and the NBCs, that's when I think you'll start to see some more movement or activity. But the rates are there. I mean, not every scenario is going to be in the fives, but we're not too far away. So I think the people that are motivated, that understand kind of what's going on, they're out there finding deals. Like Zuber keeps talking about, putting offers on multiple properties and then finally get the one the one that you want. So, but if rates go down a full percent, I mean, it's hard to imagine a bunch of people not jumping back in the game and prices continuing to stabilize and maybe even go up.
I have a question. Before like 2019, so for the last 3 years we've been in the sixes and the sevens, right? And for COVID we had like twos and threes. But before 2019, I think we were stationary like in the fours, like low fours. How long did that last? Like between 2014 and 2019, like was that the norm for like 5 years?
So coming out of the 0809 kind of situation, rates, like, because I got in the business in 2006, so prime was over 7%. Actually, I think prime was at over 8%, and mortgage rates were in the low sevens. And then we got to the beginning of 2009, and then rates went from like the sixes to 5.25 in a heartbeat, and there was a lot of refinances going on. And then 2012 and 2013 ended up being a low. And I always kind of barometer this with VA loans because that's where I did a lot of the business back in those days. But 3.25 had been the historic low for 30-year fixed VA rates back in those times. So 12 and 13, it hit there, and then it happened again in 2016 where we hit 3.25, and then from the years in between bounced up and down between 4.5 to into the threes, etc. And then 2020 happens, and then we see rates go below 3.25, but below that, and those are, unique COVID rates that we'll never see again. I don't think.
Mhm.
I do want to say hi to Kim Bishop tuning in from Instagram. She is the niece of Dan Bird, who's a regular on Zuber's channel. But we're waiting for Kim to join school. So Zuber has talked about her reaching out and having questions, and Yeah, so I'm waiting for her to join school. I've sent her multiple reminders, so I'm just throwing that out there. I'm sure I'll get a
For
I'm
your
sure I'll
first,
get a message from her after this. What is that, Lynn?
Mark, it will pay for your first month if you join.
That's what I told her, you know. But have you met Kim? Because she's in that group that invested in Gary with Mike. So Hyder, Kim is one of them. Wayne.
No, I
Okay.
don't think so.
All right. Well, yeah, so there's a good group of people in Gary, Indiana. Millennial Mike just had a meetup in person also, about a month, 2 months ago, maybe. Pittsburgh also had a meetup. Jack had one put together. So the community is growing, and a lot of people are investing out of state, you know, because a lot of areas, maybe the numbers don't make sense. So yeah, reach out to Lynn, reach out to myself, you know, reach out to Joel if you need a lender. But yeah, I just keep touching on, you know, I think there's just so much uncertainty over social media right now. You see so many things, people quitting, kind of just, I don't want to say just wanting handouts, but people just don't know really how to get ahead, I think, today, right? They just think the W-2 is the only option. They're waiting for the pay raise and whatnot. But I think a lot of times they just need to get around the right community, right? So, Lynn, is there any traction for you and Violetta? Are people reaching out to you folks to kind of figure out ways to get ahead, or how to invest in real estate?
Uh, no, not yet. We're pretty new, but I think that also there's a big, all the big influencers that were in real estate, like prior to Bigger Pockets, Brandon Turner, like David Green, Graham Stephan. Everybody's echoing the same thing, like of like maybe it's not the best time to buy, maybe it's, it's better to rent, like. And then so that message is being pushed on too, like you can feel it on the bigger podcasts and the bigger YouTube channels. So it's also like promoted as well, right? That's also Super talks about, like the crash bro, they're always talking about like housing crash coming on. But I feel like the media also, it's also projecting that like it's not the time for millennials to buy. Millennials have had not any particular time, best time to purchase any kind of investments or even their single home residences. Like the first home buyers in the US are older and older than ever. And there's just all of this like movement pushing everybody towards like not looking at real estate, looking at other types of like investment content creators pushing also that.
I think that's super important, right? Like, yeah, a lot of the big influencers, yeah, they're trying to, you see it out there, right? Maybe this is not the best time to invest. You know, real estate is a lot of up and down, and I think that's the one thing though, and I think that's why this community is so beneficial and powerful, is that everyone kind of understands the 5 years of suck, and if you're not around this community, you're kind of on an island by yourself, and you don't realize like this is kind of normal to some extent, right? So you feel like you've made mistakes, and you just want to quit. But when you're around this community, you realize like this is just part of the process, and you're very close to giving yourself a lot of options. Like I was saying, like Alex earlier, right? By having a rental portfolio, it's helping him through this uncertainty. Like yourself, even during all this chaotic times, you're possibly going to leave your W-2, start a business. I know Millennial Mike has talked about it. I've talked about it. Next year we might be stepping away from our W-2s. So there is people that are winning, but definitely the first 5 years or so haven't been the easiest, and a lot of ups and downs. So I think to that extent, I mean, Joe, like if someone, I know your strategy is that stair step method, right? So maybe you can break that down again for someone trying to get their first property or get on the kind of wealth building journey. Like break that your blueprint down
Yeah,
for them.
well, I do want to throw a shout out to Lynn. Check out her YouTube channel. I was watching one of her videos about financing ADUs and the different strategies, and I think the ADU is something that I've seen a lot of investors, dip their toes in the water on to try to be able to create more value. So, and I have an investor right now who is in the DC market who's buying an investment property and doing a renovation loan, putting 15% down, and essentially uh, restructuring a garage into an ADU. And I think it's a really good strategy. But in this market, I think it all begins with mindset. I mean, when I talk about the average age of a first-time home buyer being 38, 39 years old, which is crazy. I mean, I bought my first house at 27, maybe. Again, that was in 2009, and I was scared to death. I mean, I was in mortgage sales, I'm in commission jobs, so I didn't know what my job and income was going to be 6 months from now, let alone next month. So I was always scared to, uh, purchase a home. But I did it, and this is at the time when there was a grant back coming out of the crash. So I mean, I had extra help, and that condo was $230,000, which at that time was a massive amount in St. Louis. But pre-COVID, I think the average age of a first-time home buyer was like 27, 28, give or take. And so if you're 25 years old and you've got decent income, got savings, got credit, I mean, house hacking is just an amazing opportunity. I mean, could you imagine, the ability to find a couple of friends to rent rooms? Like if you buy a 3-bed house, I mean, buy it, live in it, get 2 roommates that are going to subsidize your mortgage, and then in that world, with the stair step method, you would live there for a year or two, save up, buy the next house as a slight upgrade. Like here in St. Louis, I've got investors in the North County part, Florissant, Missouri, who are out of state buying stuff in Florissant. Whereas if somebody in that area is going to buy as a primary residence, you're putting, let's just call it 3% or 5% down, and you can do the same thing, build your portfolio one primary residence at a time. And I always talk about if you can buy 4 properties in 8 years, I mean, you're on your way to building a multi-million-dollar portfolio over 20, 30 years. And so I think it all starts with mindset. The information is there. We all know how to do it. We all know what the process is. It's just, are you confident enough to take the steps and put it into action?
Yeah, and have the education as well. I feel like once you start investing in real estate and you see the upside of it and you start getting that cash flow, it is for W2 workers. It feels like almost like a gateway drug into entrepreneurship, because then you're seeing like the return without you actually exercising work, right? Exchanging your time for money. And then for me, I think that's one of the biggest like accelerators of wealth. Like you stop thinking about how do I work more for more money, instead of how do I work smarter for more money. And then so you move into like, oh, maybe I can do other things with my time. And then that's when you come in with like the side hustles, so starting your own business or becoming your own boss.
So Joel, this is for you from Jovan, who is in the school. Oh, wait, I'll go there. Is DTI taken into account when acquiring the next primary residence?
I love this question because it segues into something that I always say, is that the second house is the hardest. The first one's not the hardest, even though it's hard because it may be someone's first property. But buying the second one, when you keep the first one, that becomes the hardest, because now you've got 2 payments you have to fit into your ratios. Typically, when people buy the next one, they sell their initial one to be able to have the money for down payment. And so those are the 2 things that are hard. You got to be able to have the money for the down payment built up and saved without selling, and 2, qualify on ratios. And so one detail that I think it's important to know if you're trying to navigate these waters is that credit scores become so important, because if you have a 600 credit score or a 580 credit score, I mean, you can get an FHA loan and get a decent rate and buy your first house. But on the second one, that's where it becomes challenging, because one, you can't have 2 FHA loans at a time unless you fit into an exception. And so that means you need to fit into a conventional loan, which is way more credit score sensitive. And I mean, I always say 720 and above, I mean, you're in good shape. 680 to 720 is kind of your middle band, where it's give or take. If you're below 680, it's going to be very tough to do a conventional loan unless you have a large down payment. And then back to the DTI question, on a conventional loan, you can use a lease to offset that departure residence to help with qualifying. And you're putting 5% down on the next one.
You kind of touched on credit score, and I've never heard Lynn's take on this. So me and Joe kind of maybe have opposite thoughts on it. Like, and I'm not sure if Lynn, if children are in your plans or your future or whatnot. But Joe and I had this discussion about like if you had a child, because there is people that put their child as authorized user from a young age on their credit card, so that they start building credit history and a credit score. So by the time they graduate high school, they have credit history built up, so that now they can apply for their own credit. They can apply for a loan, but they have a credit history. Joel's a little more on the side of he's not sure if he'd want to do that because you're not really teaching them how to build credit in a sense. So I don't know if you ever thought about that, but what would be your take on putting a child on a credit card as an authorized user from a very young age to help them build up credit?
I think it's a smart move, but I also don't have children, so I wouldn't be the best person to voice my opinion here. But they can always wreck the credit score, right? Like they can always rack up a credit card, and then they're gonna have to build it up because they're gonna have to learn, and they're gonna have to get an apartment or get a car, and then now all of a sudden that's gonna cost more. I mean, the lessons are gonna come regardless of you having a perfect credit score because it goes up and down. Would you want to teach your children to do everything perfect from the get-go? I think a majority of people is like the most ideal dream, yes, but children are going to make mistakes. That's just, you made mistakes in your 20s. I've certainly made mistakes, financial mistakes. So that's just the unknown. It's known. If they're going to mess up. That's just how they deal with those mess ups that they're going to get back up on.
Oh yeah, I'm pushing 50 and I'm still making mistakes. But yeah, I think that's one of those. I can see both sides to it, but I definitely have my son on authorized user, build up that credit, so once he graduates high school, he has some credit history. But yeah, I don't think there's no right or wrong. But I don't know if you guys saw also, I didn't get a chance to send it to you, but Joe mentioned, house hacking. Lynn, you're doing an ADU, so somewhat, figuring out how to generate income from your primary. But Henry Washington was on Bigger Pockets, I believe, speaking. There's a little clip of him was talking about how house hacking doesn't work everywhere, right? So, he was talking about how like he's gone through with students trying to evaluate house hack deals, and you look at it and it's kind of like the amount of money you have to save up for the down payment. And then, yeah, you might save a little bit of money from the rental income from the other person renting, but the amount of you're paying for the whole mortgage, right? You could be saving that money, investing out of state or investing somewhere else in cash flow. Lynn's kind of touched on this before, but Joe, what is your thoughts on that, maybe from house hacking not working everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a unique position where I'm in the Midwest. In St. Louis, it works in certain parts of the city. But in my lending job, I mean, I'm seeing different clients work in different markets, California to the East Coast, Maryland, Virginia, Texas, Florida. And there's definitely markets that it makes it more difficult, like Northern Virginia. Um, I mean, you're not qualifying for a $700,000 starter home in Alexandria, Virginia, unless you get it, go up the ladder, make about over six figures. So certain markets it's going to be challenging to even enter the market, let alone house hack. But yeah, I mean it depends on the markets, and then like Florida, Texas, I do see a lot of that. The Midwest, St. Louis, Indianapolis. I mean, I got a lot of people house hacking in Indianapolis in this market.
Lynn, your thoughts? Is that also why you went to Gary, Indiana?
For house hacking?
No, well, because it didn't make sense in your backyard.
Oh yeah, of course. So yes, like there was no way I could afford a second home here in LA with my income, with my debt to income ratio, even by renting out all the rooms in my house, right? Even by getting that income, probably would have. But with the rates changing, like really, my income to debt ratio would have not, even with an FHA, with low down and all those things, it still would have been like a $5,000, $6,000 mortgage on top of like my current mortgage, right? So that was not feasible. And then there was not going to be any cash flow. So how do I get away from my W-2? That was the problem, right? So that's what I started going outside of the state. But I think house hack works in every single market. It just comes at the personality of the house hacker, because it's not easy, right? To have your home, your primary home, regardless if you're single or you have a partner, you have children, and you rent another room, it's sacrifice. And it's a level of sacrifice that you have to be comfortable with because you see the gains, and then have discipline after, because the money that you're getting subsidized from your renters, from your rentals, then what do you do with the money? Do you save it? Do you continue to invest it? Do you spend it? Like, and most people, I think, choose to spend it. Like, I don't have to pay $2,000 on my mortgage, then I'm gonna go and book a trip somewhere, which, like, do if it makes you happy. But instead of, like, maybe I should save half of the money, or like pay an additional payment to your mortgage so your, like, mortgage goes down, or save it for your next investment. Most people don't do that. So it becomes down to, like, the house hacker personality. How much sacrifice do you have? How much discipline do you have? And are you willing to do this?
Okay, so it's funny you bring up sacrifice. So now I want to dig into that because I had a live stream on Thursday with Dion and Kyle Dorn. So Kyle Dorn reached financial freedom. He sold his trucking business. He is, I guess, what you would say, retired in a sense. But his living expense is $600 basically. I'll round it up. So he's very disciplined. He has a very frugal lifestyle. And a lot of people in the chat were commenting that no ways, this is not, this is BS. There's no way it's $600 and whatnot. And, so he's going to be on for part 2. So if anyone out there wants to tune in, we're going to actually break down his expenses again on a live stream with Dion. Dion will be back. So will be on Thursday again. But yeah, he was living on, was living on $600 basically, right? So, what is I know Lynn made a comment in there also during that live stream, but is that too? I mean, we don't want to tell someone that they are being too disciplined or frugal, I guess, right? But can you imagine having an expense of $600 a month?
No, but I live in a different state than he does, right? I live in California. I have a significant mortgage. He lives where? Montana.
Yeah, Montana.
For I don't know how many times his Montana property, I think he pays nothing out of, right? They split expenses between the girlfriend pays for food, I think. But even then, I feel like 600 is too low just to have, like, do you have a car payment? Do you have insurance? Do you pay for health insurance? Water, power, sewage, like, do you not pay for that? Like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't compute in my head. And then also, like, okay, do you not go to the movies? Do you not go to work out? Do you not pay for the gym? Like, okay, I understand you don't have a TV, you don't pay for subscriptions, but how about life in general? Do you buy gifts for your family when they have birthdays? Like, so many, Christmas is coming, so many things come up in my head. Like, just, okay, $600? I don't think so.
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna dig into that. He definitely he sent me a breakdown of his expenses, so we're gonna go kind of line by line and break it down and see how that goes. I'm sure Dion, I sent that to Dion, so Dion can go through with his fine-tooth comb and have a lot more questions for him. But Joe, I don't know if you heard kind of what we were talking about. Like I said, the live stream on Thursday, this individual has reached financial freedom. They retired, but their expenses is like $600 a month. That's what they live on. But to Kyle's, in fairness to Kyle, his cash flow from his rentals is probably 4x, 5x. So I think at the end of the day, if things were to, the amount of cash flow he's generating from the rentals is sufficient for his lifestyle. But the fact that he's living on like 600 now, people just couldn't believe that. They're like, no way, this is BS. Whatever, health insurance is this already and all that. But yeah.
Property taxes.
Well, so yeah, so his yeah, I think like I said, he gave me the breakdown, but his property is paid off. He paid off vehicle. But he has the numbers. He even sent me his bills. So he sent me his insurance statement, his car insurance statement, his health insurance.
Where does he live?
He lives in Montana.
Okay.
So like he says, I think he only pays for electricity because he's on a well septic, so there's no bills for that. His Wi-Fi is like $41 or something, but I don't want to give up too much details because we're going to break it down on Thursday. But yeah, he's like $600 a month is his expense.
That's
Joe.
crazy.
I
But
live pretty frugally, and just to exist without a mortgage, I still would spend like $2,000 a month without a mortgage. So I don't know.
well, so on that point though, I think that's why, like Zuber always talks about is what kind of rat race or what kind of wheel have you created for yourself, right? So in Kyle's, like I said, to his defense, this wheel that he's created is very small for him. So that's why it's so much easier for him to exit the rat race, right? And maybe we don't agree with it or we think it's crazy to live off of that much, but
Yeah.
for him, that's the wheel that he's created, and it's also allowed him to step away from his W-2 or his job that much easier and that much quicker, right? Um, yes, Tiffany. So if you haven't seen it, there is a live stream of the part one where Kyle talks about he wanted to thank Dion, the three amigos, for he just sold his trucking business. He's retired, but when he brought up his expense of what he's living on, it kind of caused a little riled up the chat a little bit. A lot of BS comments, and people were saying no ways. So I told Kyle we got to do a part two, and we're going to break down his actual expenses. And so we'll be back on Thursday.
I think it speaks of like how much men need women in their lives and raising their quality of life, because we see in the data that if you are single, you're more likely to live less. Like you're gonna live less, 8 years less than women, because your married men live longer. Why? Because their wife pushed them to get BCP appointments, go to the dentist, make sure like you're having chest pain when you're walking. Maybe you should go to the cardiologist. Maybe you did have a heart attack. And then we had somebody in school just recently said, like, I push away pressure in my chest. And I went to the doctor, and actually I was having some heart malfunction, But why? Because the wife sent them. I'm just saying.
I'll keep my comments to myself right now on that. Joe, if you want to get yourself in trouble, you can comment on that. But
I mean, I think there's validity to that for sure. For sure, there's validity.
I would say, where's the chest pain coming from? The origination, though, where did it start from? But Jovan says my property taxes alone is $1,000 a month. Yes. So I said we'll cover all that on Thursday. But he does have he's in Montana, so I'm not sure what the property tax rate is over there. Well, I think I think he house hacks. So maybe he's factoring in the property taxes is being paid by the tenant, right? So the property taxes, insurance. See, okay, I'll show this comment. Jason, my man Jason is here. He says, does that count the heart attack women give men?
I don't know. Show me the data on that. Anyways, do you think of that? Because Mark, you live in Hawaii, right? So you are kind of reverse house hacking right now. But I think you said that you would want to retire or live in North Carolina, which it's like a significant cut down on expenses. I would think from Hawaii. Would your like rat race per se become significantly smaller if you were to live there?
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely making things a lot easier for myself. I'll probably spend a lot of time in North Carolina, South Carolina. So it's definitely, well, North Carolina has some expensive areas, but definitely not expensive like Hawaii. And I think Hawaii is. There was a report recently that we have probably I don't know. I could be a little bit wrong, but the government shutdown is impacting Hawaii quite a bit because of the big federal government presence, the military and whatnot out here. So there's a lot of people that aren't getting paid. And if people don't know, when I first started, I was with the federal fire department and not the city and county. So guys that I know that I worked with that on the federal side, they're not getting paid right now. And I see them all over social media posting like, hey, every morning during muster, call your representative, let them know that this is not okay. But it's kind of, it just it really makes me I know the whole, whatever you want to call it, pandemic, scandemic, all whatever words you want to use for it. I definitely think people were impacted in different ways. People were hurt by it, but a lot of time I think for me it definitely woke me up, and it just kind of made me realize why just having one stream of income was very risky. And fortunately, I took action, and we always joke about it. Dion jokes about it. Yeah, I jumped in probably just blindly and threw my money into some real estate. And yeah, I had my ups and downs. But like Millennial Mike said earlier, you don't quit, right? You kind of push through it. And now I'm reaping the benefits. And I definitely feel like, if I stayed in Hawaii, I'd be okay. And I'm still going to spend time here. But definitely by the fact that I kind of want to, be someplace else, it's definitely going to make things a lot easier on my finances too. So, and Joe lives in Missouri or St. Louis, Missouri, so his living expenses are fairly on the lower side, right?
That's right. That's right.
So,
Joel, as your
Low cost, high misery.
uh, since you talked about business and then you're a lender, so you're kind of your own boss. Are you expecting your real estate to carry you into your retirement, or you're expecting your business to carry you into retirement?
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, I've been in lending for 18 years, and this job is a grind. I got into real estate primarily because I know that I didn't want to do a 9 to 5. Like I knew that wasn't for me. And then in this moment in time, some real estate stuff, divorce, like I'm, basically, reallocating, rebuilding. I think it's to answer your question, it's going to be a blend of both. Like the business that I do, as much as it's stressful and it's a struggle, I do love it, and I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. And so, I mean, I see them intertwining each other along the way. As also personal brand is going to also kind of become more important as time goes on too. So I think I was telling Mark before we came on that to me, real estate is just the end of the stream, end of the funnel. That the income is the beginning of the funnel, the top of the engine, and that's the part to me is the most important thing. I want to be able to generate more income, systematize more things, build the business, build the brand, to then be able to channel some of the profits of the business into real estate. Which then I always talk about on my channels that the holy grail of real estate is being able to do a cost segregation to maximize depreciation, rinse and repeat, and then continue to buy every year. I've done that before. It's gonna take me some time to get back to there to be able to do it again. But to me, that's where I foresee things going.
I did put the YouTube link for part 1 of the live stream with Dion and Kyle Dorn. So if anyone wants to check it out before part 2, we do on Thursday. But Lynn, actually, I never really asked you about it.
Part 2.
Hello.
Markers everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Lynn, I never really talked to you about it. Do you love real estate? Like that's kind of a topic going around. People are starting to not really watch as much real estate content, I think, in our community, the ones that are maybe been in it for a certain amount of years, right? And I think even Dion touched on it, right? After you get to a certain point, it's kind of like you realize there's not that much newer information in a sense. So you start listening to different things. But are you? I never talked to you about it. Do you love real estate?
I think I love the chase of that, running the numbers of oh, you can make so much money if you do this. I think that's the appeal. Yes, I agree with Dion in which it doesn't get much newer than what you already done. But yeah, I love real estate. I would say I'm very young on real estate, 3 years in, so maybe that would take a back seat. But I think it's still pretty much a passion of mine. I like doing it for other people, and people contact me and they send me a deal and then they ask me to run numbers. I still see the upside, so that I still think it's pretty engaging. I think even when I have to move myself away from the real estate news is because okay, it's getting too much. I'm feeling pressure and I'm feeling like I'm not moving fast enough. That's why I have to move away from it, not because I'm getting tired of it.
Hey, Chester's here. It's been a while. So yeah, Wealth Splitting Journey said, oh, I caught alive. Yeah, everyone's doing well, Chester. Hopefully everything's good with you. Chester's investing out of state. I know he had some hiccups on his first property in Detroit. So hopefully that has kind of smoothed itself out. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fun to see. Like I think what I enjoy is I'm starting to see like the different maybe levels in the community, and like there's Millennial Mike, there's Dion, Lumberjack, Zuber, kind of that the the OGs or the grandfather or you know what I mean. Like they started everything, and even them, they're kind of branching out into their own things. Like Zuber's in this health kick, and Lumberjack wants to get on Bigger Pockets now. Millennial Mike's going on Rumble, doing these different things. And there's kind of that next group, like maybe like me, Jared, you, yourself, Frank, starting the social media side, the YouTube channels. And then it has all the newer people coming in. So it's kind of fun to see like just the different levels and how the community is growing. And now we finally got Joel to finally jump into school. And he's going to be in Vegas. So Lynn, I forget, were you at both events, the ORAD event, first year and second year?
No, just second year.
Okay, what advice or maybe what kind of expectations would you give Joel coming to the event, or what were your takeaways that you could help him
Oh,
with?
the first time
Yeah.
that Mark just stirs trouble wherever he goes, and they have to call him out from the stage to say, "Stop it now."
From the stage, Mark, come on, man.
By name.
No, they didn't call me out by name, did they? I
They
don't think
did.
so. Well, let's just say they put in noise curtains, maybe because of me. Maybe it had to do something with me, but they had to
Because
put
weren't
like
you out there like interviewing people like behind
no,
stage or out
no.
there
Well,
doing
no.
stuff?
Millennial Mike guys do that. Millennial Mike and Dion, but they're like far in the back room, so they're not
Mhm.
really. But let's just say noise proof curtains or sound is being implemented from some riffraff. Uh, uh, well,
Yeah,
any positive advice or feat you could give Joel for him
yeah.
attending?
You're,
No.
you're going to be around a lot of doers. I feel like that's the main character there. There's rarely any people that haven't done any deals in that area, and they're all excited about their next deal or like learning more, and especially hanging out with the community that you like kind of engage all the time. Like Mark has the lives, you have your chats, and there's WhatsApp chats that some people are not allowed in as well. And it's just like camaraderie and just being with other people that are like thriving and enjoying seeing everybody else succeed, which I think it's not the same in other groups. I don't know. I don't think I've been in other groups that just like they're happy for you because you're continuing to succeed, as opposed to like, oh my God, are they gonna sell me something? That they're gonna buy something? And just
Yeah, and you kind of touch on that being happy. So, just so happened he's tuning in now. Chester Wealth Building Journey. He's one of those that was been a big part of the One Rent at a Time community. He's been following Zuber for a long time. One of the regulars, and he's been in that analysis paralysis phase for years, right? And that was kind of the joke, and everyone jabbing about it, but he finally pulled the trigger, and he got his first out of state rental, and I think everyone else was more happy than he was. Right? You could just see everyone was so proud and excited for him, right? And I think that's just what the community is about. And like he says, yeah, I think he has struggled a little bit, but this says things have smoothed it out um, for the most part. The PM is still mildly annoying, but being around this community, I'm sure, is making it a lot easier for him to deal with the property manager and handle his questions and whatnot. We'll skip Jason's comment about me being called out by name
Well,
after the
shit.
event.
I mean, just hearing this, like, just being around like-minded people, I think is just so important. I wish I would have had this community going into COVID. I mean, my life was in turmoil with a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I wish I had this resource back in those times.
Well, I mean, if you just came to year one and like year two, like you told me you were, then it would have been that much better for you.
The damage is already done at that time.
Or you invite us to your event that you have in Florida, but you don't invite us. You just have it.
You didn't get my telegram?
But another thing, I saw Joel. You've connected with Renee, Forever Landlord, in the school community, and I believe you are putting out that episode
Yeah.
soon. Is that something coming out on your channel soon?
Yeah. So I was in Orlando for a conference, and was able to connect with Renee, Forever Landlord, because of Mark.
Mhm.
And I rented a podcast studio on a Wednesday. Had a couple interviews set up with a couple entrepreneurs, including Renee. Just the setup was really cool. Amazing conversation. I love to hear his that forever mindset and all of the tools and resources that he's built. And again, he has his own community on School too. Um, but yeah, it's gonna come out soon. I've got a meeting on Monday with some back end editing stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure when it's gonna be ready, but it should be soon.
Screw the ad. Just throw it out there.
Mm, mm, it's time for me to up the game a little bit.
All right, all right, all right.
And I think the majority of the people from this, they're gonna show up in Vegas like 5 days before the actual like event happens. So
I told him that too. So it sound that
hombres,
I,
so
I, I would say the majority of the people, or not majority, I would say a lot of the people will probably try to be there on Wednesday, and leave Tuesday. Monday is a holiday. So I think that
additional
is
5 days.
yes. So Wednesday, Thursday, it will have Dion and Millennial Mike's usual Denny's meetups. That's kind of their thing, the midnight meetup, which is another great place for networking. Someone's at the door. But Friday, I believe Brandon Potts is also putting together a coffee meetup because he says he doesn't know how much longer past midnight he can hang out. So he wants to do a morning one. So there's going to be a coffee one on Friday. And I'm thinking about trying to put together a Pittsburgh meetup on Friday, with a lot of the boots on the ground that we have in Pittsburgh who are coming out to the event. So like Alex Deacon, Jeremy Taggart, Liam. So people that may have some questions about Pittsburgh or thoughts of investing in Pittsburgh will probably have a get together there. But yeah.
Do you know if
Um,
Donato is coming?
I think I may have messaged him before, and I think he had some kind of event. But Donato's also in school, so he might be. But talking about the community growing, I mean, a lot of the speakers are going to be from the community. Like Jared's going to be speaking, Brandon, Aaron Amin, who has a great YouTube channel also. But a lot of people in the community are speaking, so
Mhm.
that's very cool. Chester does say yes, Lynn. The best action happens at Denny's. Yes, yeah. But we're trying to go to a different one this year. Last year, or the one that they usually go to is kind of in the hood. So um,
What hotels do you guys stay at?
a lot of us staying at the downtown Grand. It's probably the most convenient. You're
The MGM, like the blue building?
No,
no
it's
the
off the
cheap one.
strip. It's on Old Town Vegas.
Yeah, but more on Fremont side, not on the Strip side. So um,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The Dennis meetup is too late. I am with Brandon there, like past midnight. Like starts at midnight until what, like 3 a.m. Mm-mm.
yeah, it depends. I mean, there's people that stay to kind of late, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, you can sleep at the event if you have to. You can go sleep in the back. There's a lot of room if you have to take a break, take a nap.
I will.
Cots in the back.
There is. There's like sofas and stuff. You can go hide out. Now you got the sound curtain, so be quiet. You don't have to worry about a lot of noise. Let's see. With all these side. Yes, but the requirement is if you do come to Vegas, everyone has to take a turn watching Jason and be responsible
Oh
for
my
it.
god.
Because Jason is the random, he may go off on his own drinking and gambling. So everyone has to take,
Ooh.
everyone has time slots.
Being
Uh,
outed on the live. Wow, Jason.
Jesus.
I take the early one. I take the 9 to 10 p.m. So then I'm done. But yeah.
Man.
Sounds like Donato's not sure. Yes, yeah, but yeah. Glad you got your ticket, Joe. Glad you signed up for school, Lynn. I'm glad we can do this. I know usually our times don't work out, so that's why I think Saturdays might be the only time that we can do this. Usually a little bit later. Joe has committed to Wednesdays.
Oh.
Joe and Lauren Elaine are on regulars every
I can't
week.
believe Lauren committed.
Yes, I
Is
yes.
she coming to the event? I never met her.
We're trying to, but Lauren's like a little butter. She's like a butterfly. She just kind of
Like a
floats around. She is. She's just like, oh, yeah, just wherever things go.
butterflies get trapped. So
But if you don't know, so Lauren had an equestrian farm, sold that, and now she's doing a boutique hotel in Idaho with a bowling alley apparently, which was news to me. Um,
They're building a bowling alley, or does it already have it?
she's building it in the back
Building,
part of the
building.
building,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I
it's
asked her,
just-
1 out of 10. She said 6. I was expecting a 4. She said 6 out of 10 odds.
yeah. So hopefully Lauren. So those of you in the chat, always when Lauren's on, reminder about Vegas. But Joe and Lauren have committed to. So Mondays I have Cody Davis now regular. Tuesday is Brandon Potts regular. Wednesday we'll see if we even get the first one. But Joe and Lauren are committed for Wednesday. But Emily Lopez will also be joining us on Wednesday. She's a new guest, but Emily has a big YouTube channel, or well, much bigger than ours. But she is can wait, what is it? DIY? No, I can DIY.
Something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I
but
forget.
she's a DIY investor. Super cool. She's always doing a lot of stuff, but she's on social media, Instagram, YouTube. Emily Lopez.
What market is Cody out of?
Cody Davis is in Washington, Moses Lake
Washington.
area. So his wife's actually from Hawaii though, but he just got married. So that's why we skipped this past Monday. But Cody, I think, represents kind of the one rental at a time mindset the best right now, in a sense, where he went big, all creative finance, no bank loans, went very huge, and he's kind of realizing that he put too much headaches on his plate, right? So smaller is better, less, no partnerships in a sense. Um, but hi there, what are you going to be for Halloween?
What are you gonna be for Halloween? Venom.
Ooh,
It's
so many kids keep coming up. How many kids do you have, Joe? Two.
just 2.
Okay.
Just 2. This is
hi,
a Spider-Man one.
No,
Spider-Man.
he looks just like you.
Um,
I don't, Mark. This is the first time I think I've done a live with you while I have my kids. I mean, every other weekend plus the week. I think this is the first time I've been able to do it and them not go crazy. So
hey, well,
it's a win.
Jovi, what's up, Jovi? Thanks for tuning in. Okay,
Thank
we'll
you.
wrap it up, I guess. Well, I'll answer Chester's question real quick. So, like talking about the WhatsApp chat, right? Um, so he says, "What's the Gen X Gen Z battle?" So Chester, because you made this comment, I'm going to call you out because you are not in school, so you don't know what it's about. But Cody Davis runs a Gen Z call on Saturday mornings. It's a Gen Z plus call, so anyone can join. But Cody wasn't able to do it today. I believe he's still in his honeymoon, and Dylan is sick, the other Gen Z individual. So I just said,
And
what
Mark went in and said, "What did you say, Mark?"
I said, weak ass Gen Z. I said back in my day, we'd get 1 hour of sleep and come to work with our club band on our wrist still yet.
Back in my day, I used to walk to school 5 miles.
Yeah, so it started this whole little battle in the chat section, but yeah, it was fun. So it's all in fun. Hey, wealth. Oh, yep. So Joe. All right. Well, I know you guys want to say anything else before we wrap things up. It's always good to connect with you folks. Lynn, when's your next live with Violetta, I guess? Or what are you guys doing next?
Tomorrow we're coming out live at 1 p.m. with Dylan and Jack. So tune in if you guys are available tomorrow.
Wait. Violetta's on that, or just you,
Yes.
Jack, and Dylan?
Jack and Dylan, PST 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay. What is that live stream usually about?
It's going to be about, they're going to first attempt at doing predictions for real estate for 2026, and also talking about how where older and older people are buying into their first home.
Like Gen X people, or like older?
Yep, like 38 and older.
We're not that old. All right. Well, everyone tune in tomorrow for that. Look for Lynn's live. Frank usually goes live today, but he's under the weather. So I told him this live stream will be like chicken soup for him. So hopefully he tuned in and feeling better. But he didn't. He wasn't able to go live. Joe, when's your next? Is it gonna be Wednesday with me, or you got anything else planned?
Yeah, I don't have anything planned, but I will begin to do some more things on my own soon. Um, did you see my Polymarket snapshot post? Where
No.
Polymarket's
You can-
predicting
Okay.
that rates could be below 6 by the end of the year.
End of this year?
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about that real quick before we wrap things up? Or is
That's
that?
my topic for tomorrow.
Okay.
Just
Is it
kidding.
really?
No. Just,
Oh, well, there you can get inside information from the
give
lender.
me some data over here.
Well, I think the best and simplest tool to see where rates are is the Freddie Mac mortgage rate page. And right now it says 6.19. And the hard thing about that too is that those are based off published rates. And you know, if you have a published rate on a website, you don't know what the assumptions are in terms of credit score, loan amount, if they're paying points or not, et cetera. And so it's down week over week. And so 6.19 to under 6 isn't that big of a jump in all reality. So it's getting down, it's coming and inching down. So we'll see.
Joe V says, now that Joe joined school, he has to do a lot more YouTube videos.
You're right, I do. I've got a lot of stuff that I've got planned to get out there. And and that's the thing too, is that anybody that's on here that has any specific topics or questions and that they want answered in a video, please either message Mark or message me. And
Why you
any
message
input.
me for? I
Because
get enough messages
you're
now.
like the OG. You're like the
Yeah, but
godfather of the second round.
So as I mentioned
Triple F.
earlier, like I can see I'm at a point where I'm getting messages all day now. Like, so it's like
I'm too popular.
no, not well. A lot of it is memes. So Val keeps sending me like 20 memes a day. So it's me and Jason. But I'm just saying I'm getting all kind of messages. So which is fine.
You're not going to work, Mark.
Well, that's part of it. Hold on. Oscar, I believe, is coming in from one of your guys' channel. I'm not sure. I'm a little upset because Oscar's not coming from my channel, but he's commenting on yours. But it says, I checked the rates on Freddie Mac, but it only updates every Thursday. This is coming from Lynn's channel, I believe.
I checked mortgagedailynews.com and FHA and EA, it's 5.99. That's
Tiffany, who's in school, she messaged you, I believe, Joe. So go check your school.
Cool.
Tiffany's super cool. She's I believe I think she might be doing Rent by the Room, or she's pivoting that way. But yeah, Tiffany's super cool. So reach or check your message. Tiffany, I'm not sure, but a lot of people have connected with Joe, and yeah, they have a lot of nice things to say about him, more nice than what I usually say about him. But
definitely wasn't late.
You weren't late. Usually I give Joe shit for always being late. But Wealth Building Journey.
That's like a 2022 thing. 3 years later.
You are much better. I'll give you that. Chester does say Polymarket is only a bet on literally everything site. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up with that then. I don't know if you follow basketball or not, but right? They got busted for betting, or allegedly, Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, and a lot of that. I was gonna wonder, these Polymarket sites. Do you think it's good or bad for people are like just betting on everything now, right? And now you have athletes getting busted for, and even they're talking about how like one guy was like, "Hey, I'm going to pull myself out of the game, so bet on me being on the under for rebounds," right? And then he becomes hurt during the game, so he can't play, and his rebounds are under a certain, and people are making a lot of money on that.
Wait, I have a quick question for the SER. Somebody said in the chats, and I don't know who this was, but if you have a prepayment penalty, that affects the rate that you would be able to qualify for your, let's say you want to cash out of the SER cash out refi next year. Does the prepayment penalty affect your rate? Really? I mean, it affects the closing cost rate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you take the same rate and you add a prepayment penalty, your cost or structure, your fee structure is going to be lower. So, I mean, we're talking like an eighth or a quarter%, all things being equal.
So, to that point, sorry, we're getting off the basketball now, but to that point, every time someone puts a comment about rates, I want to just yell because I'm like, there's so much other factors that are involved, right? Like it's like the location, purchase price. If it's DSCR, it could be the rent amount factors in the prepayment. So like Pennsylvania, it's like a gray area where you're not supposed to have prepayment penalties, but if the loan amount is a certain amount, it could be, it's a gray. So there's so much factors, and people always put that comment in school about what rates are they seeing, and it's like they're not giving enough information to get an accurate number, right? So if anyone is listening, that's probably, if you put those type of information in, you'll probably be able to get your answer or your question answered a lot quicker.
Did you see my comment on one of those threads, Mark?
No, you mean like I send you the link and you don't ever respond?
I did. I dropped what I was doing. I was wiping a kid's butt.
Okay.
No, I didn't see it.
I got on my computer and then I typed up something in like 5 minutes. Yeah, but I just listed out like a list of the
You sure you sent it?
levers.
Because I didn't see it.
Oh, I thought I did.
Oh.
No, I did because somebody liked it. Yeah, but like DSCR ratio, prepayment penalty, points, credit score, or LTV. I mean, there's probably a couple other ones that come into play.
All right. We'll wrap it. Oh, Dylan tuned in, right? He probably heard us talking. He's the weak ass Gen Z I was talking about that didn't.
Mark.
Well, he could have if he let me know and said, "Hey, I'm not gonna be there. Here's the link." Then I would have.
Okay, that's a different message from saying you weak ass.
Well, it's.
Dylan, in the future, if you can't make it, just text Mark.
No, don't. Seriously, don't text me.
Text him, message him, DM him.
All right. That's enough.
Call him on the phone.
Yeah, this is
WhatsApp.
Anyways, all right. Now, he is literally throwing up 5 minutes before. All right. This is fun. Let's wrap it up.
Where's your yellow shirt?
Lynn, do you know, is Zuber going live tomorrow in school? I don't even know. I didn't check the calendar.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so usually he's live Sunday. I'm not sure. I gotta go check.
Usually announces it, no? Oh no.
Yeah. See, even Joe. One time, I'm gonna agree with Joe V. Weak ass is correct description. But all right. Thanks for doing this. We'll get you folks back on. I'll be back Monday, 11 a.m. Actually, Curtis is going to join us too. So it'll be Cody Davis and Curtis is going to join us. PE turned RE. So have a good weekend, everyone else. And like I said, I'll be back part 2 also Thursday with the Dion and Kyle Doran. We'll go through his expenses for those of you calling BS on his $600 living expense.